Tokenmetrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
We are live. This is the market update. Which market update? The one you can trust the most. I'm your host, Bill Noble. This show is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com, the best crypto research firm in the business, where we tell it to you the way it is. We help you in up markets and down markets. So if you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on the alerts bell so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, please drop a like. We're trying to break our record and get to 2,000 likes on a video. All right, Chris is here from San Antonio, Grand Prairie, Texas, and Boston. Ali from London, first on the stream, welcome. We have Ontario, Fernando, Headhunters, right? Lawn Shark is here, Azir, Crypto Lion from Arkansas, right? A neighbor of Texas. We have Hungary, London, right? California is here. My favorite time of the day, says Andrew. The obituary reading. Now that's funny. That's got to be like top 10 comments of the year. Let's not think of it as an obituary reading. Let's think of it as a get out of the way, right? So you can get back in at ridiculously cheap prices. East Tennessee is here, right? Akim Holland, welcome, right? Calgary is here. Amadi, thank you for the love. Belgium, right? You ready? All right. I'm going to give it to you. As always, I am definitely going to give it to you today. Poland, Canada, Italy. People on their lunch break, the Bahamas, Tampa, Florida, right? You've seen from London, the Philippines, Turkey. Emmanuel wants to know, are we going to zero? Well, there is support at zero, but I don't think we're going to zero. Okay, San Diego. Somebody said sub 20K for sure. Serbia, Birmingham. Up late at night in India, and our friends from Michigan and Romania. All right, let's jump in and let's start with some solid crypto news where, you know, interestingly, we've got a lot of people out there who sound just like 1929. All right, so our friends, the Russians, just in, the Russian government, right, has created a blockchain platform for international payments to replace the current SWIFT system. In other words, when we tried to use cancel culture on the Russians instead of military force, we walked right into a trap where people are now paying for energy in rubles instead of dollars, and they're looking to entirely replace the SWIFT system. Look at the number of likes and look at the number of retweets on this thing. Okay. Point. Global governments are so backward that when the carnage is over in crypto, it will be the dawn of the new age. That's why I'm trying to keep everybody out of harm's way, so you've got capital left when the time comes. And again, if you've been listening to the wrong people, no problem. Now, come on over and listen to us. Okay. Now we have dog eat dog. Celsius Network needs liquidity now. Okay. And they've been withdrawing assets from Bancor, selling BNT rewards, and allegedly shorting BNT on FTX. Wow. So Celsius pulling out of Bancor, and everybody's pulling their liquidity from everybody else, right, before the music stops. So this is what's actually happening And then don't forget this. This is pretty wild. The Solend team, right, wants to take over a certain whale's accounts and execute the liquidation themselves. The whale's position is so degenerate that if Sol drops too low, it will create cascading liquidations across the DEX books and potentially bad debt. So much for decentralized finance. This sounds like a bank giving somebody a margin call in the stock market, except it's on Solana. And they actually rallied Solana on this. Please. Okay, as if we need another example of men and women behaving badly, okay, Janet Yellen says, she says the only way to solve the energy crisis in the United States is to go to renewables. Really? This says if you can't properly diagnose that you turned off the carbon economy. So they shut down U.S. domestic oil production. Without thinking it through, you can't fix the problem, right? You can't fix it, right? So Janet Yellen thinks, the only way to fix the energy crisis is to move to renewables. Actually, that's not true. How about we restart domestic energy production? Now, it doesn't matter where you fall on this issue, okay? You want to know who created inflation? There's her picture. Her and Big Ben. This person created inflation, and now she thinks you should pay more at the pump. Fascinating, as Mr. Spock would say. This is why I want you out of the way, because when the market figures out that these buffoons are in charge of the world, or that Putin has one leg up on the West, on the financial and economic war, crypto will be more important than ever. And crypto investors like you need to be there for the dawn of the new age after the carnage is over with. Now, let's talk about carnage. Let's talk about the everything is all right trade. 2 episodes ago, I was reading out of the 1929 book. And as the crash was happening, everybody thought the word from the book was support. Someone was going to come in and support the stock market. John Rockefeller, JP Morgan had meetings. The Morgan Bank had meetings. Bankers huddled together and decided, should we somehow support the stock market? Well, of course, in crypto, right? What's old is new again. Now we have rumors, which are not true, but this one, Binance bought $2 billion worth of Bitcoin over the weekend. That's not true. But of course, that leads to the price spike. Everybody goes, oh my God, they've secured all kinds of loans, right? Wendy O, somebody who I very much respect on crypto, Twitter, and YouTube, says, it's awfully quiet around here these days. That was this morning at, like 2 hours ago, midday. And I said, it's the calm before the storm. Okay. So there's all kinds of rumors that people came in to support the market. And then meanwhile, on the GANN front, this market rallied right to 1125. This is ETH. Right to 1125 and then stopped right on a GANN angle, right near a GANN point at 1170. If ETH starts to go down, there's the next GANN support. Think that's ridiculous? Well, maybe it is, but maybe it's time to talk about ridiculous downside targets, especially after you have a 20% short squeeze. Like, that's when you talk about ridiculous downside targets, because I've been talking about a 1929 crash scenario, and this fits the 1929 crash scenario perfectly. Okay. So let's head over to your market update. Okay. Where we've got more news and more charts. Now or never. So if you're looking for ETH targets, Solana, You want to know about Synthetix, huge move over the weekend, Avalanche, stocks, along with a complete Bitcoin and Ethereum roadmap. Don't go anywhere. Okay, the downside targets are a lot lower than anybody thinks they are. But first, a couple of notes. CEX.io has a promotion with Tokenmetrics. We're offering a 40% discount on all Tokenmetrics plans. So if you do business at CEX.io, please look for the Tokenmetrics promotions or email us at our support department to find out more. Now, just a couple of news items. Tether is preparing to audit with a top 12 firm, according to its CTO. Korea's Financial Crimes Unit reportedly blocked Terra developers from leaving the country. Men behaving badly. Celsius seeks time to stabilize. Bloomberg News. Don't worry, everything is okay. If we just wait long enough, everything will be fine. Sounds like 1929. That actually rhymes. Crypto broker Voyager Digital secures loan from Alameda to safeguard its assets. Okay. So somebody went out and got a loan, right? And one person's loaning money to another person, all right, to try to stabilize the market. Of course, I work for a crypto firm. I do not want the market to go to zero, but does this mean everything is okay? Better think about that. Bitcoin Google search volume hits 13-month high. Okay. Now, if there's any evidence that it won't be a crash, that statistic might be it. In other words, everyone's going, oh my God, Bitcoin, right? That actually may be a sign that people might be a little bit too afraid. Now, I personally don't think they're afraid enough, all right? But that is an interesting point, and as an analyst, I always have to be aware of the counterpoint. Okay, let's look at total crypto market cap. Hidden pivot analysis on this shows resistance at 886. Okay, 886 billion. So they had a nice little rally over the weekend. You know, I was like, okay. I was talking about a Father's Day surprise. I was like, wow, these guys really know how to do it, huh? It's either up 20% or down 20%. They did both this weekend. So at 886 billion, buy or sell. Well, look at that Williams oscillator, right? Every time it gets to zero, right? Every time it comes to like just a little green over zero, it's a sell signal. Same thing happened at like 1.7 trillion. And the market just cascaded lower. In my opinion, this is another cascade lower. Okay, Bitcoin, same thing, right? Like Williams oscillator, neutral, just above zero. That's what it looked like at 30K. When everybody was telling you everything was all right, and I was telling you to sell in May and go away, right? And then it crashed. And then here we are again, back at zero. So one of two things is going to happen. Either 20,700 is going to be resistance and it's going to collapse and go to 14 or lower. We'll talk about that in a second, right? It's going to attack Celsius's liquidation point. That's the first downside target, no matter what I draw. Wherever Celsius can get liquidated, unless they can get themselves under, like, I would say 9K, right? They're going to get liquidated on this trip down, if not later in November. Okay, 89-minute chart of Bitcoin. 21K even is resistance, right? And then you have a negative stochastics divergence, which is really interesting, right? So you had that little rally this morning, right? Where they took out yesterday's high just to make sure they got all the stops. This happens all the time. The stochastics makes a lower high as price makes a higher high. This type of divergence is very common, and it can be a setup for a very sharp decline. So not only is there GANN work, hidden pivot work, resistance, But there's also this thing that says, hey, when this thing gets ripping to the downside, it's going to rip, right? As in rip, as in dump down hard, okay? The biggest crash, the biggest crash day in 1929 was the Tuesday. It started on Thursday. There was a decline, right? Followed by a recovery, followed by a decline. And then Monday and Tuesday were just, that was the tsunami of selling. And I see this repeating, like with today being ugly and tomorrow being a disappearing act. Again, last Friday's video of Terrible Tuesday is coming. This one is just like ETH 450. Okay. So this hidden pivot analysis shows ETH resistance at 1121, just like the GANN chart. And in this work, okay, you have RSI overbought with the same divergence. It's not marked, but it's there. And this could go to 717. So if you break 1121 and then you break 1,000, it's going to 700, in my opinion. Not investment advice. Okay, now, if you really want to, you know, get kind of crazy, what happens if ETH breaks 1,000 again? And what happens if ETH breaks 900? In other words, if ETH makes a new low and that new low sticks, what's the worst thing that can happen? I have a simple answer. It's got to be a depeg between ST-ETH and ETH. Because if I draw this, right, and you look at the Williams oscillator, right, the last time the Williams oscillator looked like this, ETH was up at 1,800, where I was just pounding the table to get out of this thing. Then ETH goes down $1,000. Guess what? The Williams oscillator is right back in that position again. So if you have another monster move, if you take out and you make a new low based on this work, that means you got ETH at 650, and I can draw, this isn't labeled right, I can draw 160. It says 136, so it should be 160. So you could have ETH 450, you could have ETH 350, and I can draw 136. Now, just because I draw it doesn't mean it can happen, but everyone was telling me at 1,800, I was out of my mind. And if it's all the same to you, I'm going to stay out of my mind, right? Because the trend is my friend, and this whole BS about, don't worry, I'm going to get a loan, and everything's going to be okay. If we could just all calm down, maybe we'll close the market, whatever. We've seen all of this before. 1929, 2008. Everybody says everything is all right before it vanishes. Okay, stocks. Okay, will stocks get caught in the crypto liquidation? I don't know, maybe not right this second, but there's a lot of resistance at 37.36. Equities are having an up day. That's fine. Maybe the equities phenomenon is a July 4th thing. I don't know. But to me, this looks like they might try to run stops, and if they can't get through 37.36, okay, crypto could be looking at down now and possibly down in July with stocks. That's what scares me about this. Because you're like, Bill, 136, that's ridiculous. How do you get there? Well, you get there with the problem in crypto that's followed by a problem in equities. That means two problems hitting risk assets at once. Think it can't happen? Okay. I've been listening to this for 40K. Now, I'm not trying to get arrogant. I'm not doing I told you so. I'm not doing that. Right? But what I'm trying to do is keep the sheep and my friends and our customers and our viewers away from the wolf. Right? Because if it's now or never, okay, if it's never, oh, fine, I can get a new hat, get a green shirt. We can just all chill out. But if it's now is the time to be vigilant. Because remember what Wendy O said, man, it's awful quiet around here. Remember Han Solo from Star Wars? I have a bad feeling about this. Now, speaking of equities, Tesla, very interesting, right? Tesla cannot get back above a hidden pivot level at 677. And that alligator moving average system is starting to open up. So even though S&P may be trading okay, this is not. Tesla, MicroStrategy, Celsius, all these guys own crypto. At least that's what we last understood. So if these guys are long crypto and they start selling, right? So if Saylor's got to sell, Musk's got to sell, the DeFi protocols have to sell, everybody inside the crypto ecosystem has to liquidate, and he who sells first wins. Who's the buyer? That's what I want to know. Who's the buyer? Yeah, of course, there'll be a buyer at 450 or 136 in ETH. Sure, of course there will be, right? That's why you could get this really violent bottom that goes lower than anybody thinks. And the exchanges might get hurt. Remember, liquidity risk. You know, you may not be able to sell on the way down, and you may see the incredible bargains, but you may not be able to get in, which is why you have to have liquidity at various exchanges if you're looking to take advantage of even a temporary bottom, right? So remember, there's not just price risk, but there's liquidity risk as well. FANG, okay, still of the opinion that FANG looks like it did in January and April, and Web 2 is an accident going someplace to happen. This looks just like Tesla, and I see this following along. And if I'm wrong, well, then I guess crypto will be okay, and we have to wait until July 4th for the equities bomb to go off. But it's still going to go off, just a question of when, honestly. Now let's just talk about Bitcoin from a common sense point of view. Back in 2020, Bitcoin went up 20K in 4 weeks. It went from 19 to 42 in 4 weeks. Man, was that something else. That was awesome. So can someone please explain to me why the same thing can't happen in reverse? This trend really started at 30, at 31. So can someone tell me why, if it went up 20K in 4 weeks, that it can't go down $20,000 in 4 weeks? It's like the same price zone, right? We can go from, Bitcoin can go from 31 to 10 like that. They could do it this week and next week, or they could do it tomorrow. To be honest with you, the way this looks, it's like, why wait? I don't know. But if it went up in 4 weeks, it can get if it went up in 4 weeks a certain way, it can go back down in 4 weeks a certain way. Stairs on the way up, elevator on the way down. Okay, now Cardano. We got a lot of people out there who are into Cardano. And believe it or not, there are two coins that I want to buy coming out of this debacle, right? Cardano, believe it or not, is actually one of those coins. Okay, but I think in order for Cardano to be like a long-term buy, it may have to go through a period where people start giving up. So in other words, if there's a give-up trade in Cardano, I think I want to be there personally, and so might you. But we can't underestimate what can happen when people give up. So Cardano has tried to get through 50 cents. This is the third time. Okay, and it's failing there. And if I look at the Williams oscillator, the downside target I can draw for Cardano is 35 cents. So if you want to own Cardano, get out of the way and wait for 35 cents or lower. Here's the Celsius vault as of this morning. Okay, their liquidation price is 13.6. They'll probably see this video and do what they can to move it down below 10. Okay, so, you know, we don't want the crypto ecosystem to blow up. I don't want that, right? However, you know, when you have something like this that's in plain sight, you know, there's blood in the water and the sharks are coming. From tokenmetrics.com, let me just give you a hint. How are you going to know when to buy crypto. Like, what's the downside target in the coins you're looking at? Well, it's this simple. You're going to go to tokenmetrics.com. You're going to go to the low frequency trading strategy chart, and you're going to see where our AI first picked up the buy on the way up. Okay. So, you know, there was one in 2019 in Bitcoin at 3K. I'm not focusing on that right now. But the most recent one was in October of 2020 at 11.2K, 11,200. Now, why is it that Bitcoin cannot retest that? Right? You had a liquidity-driven up market, and now the liquidity is getting pulled out and DeFi is blowing up. So it just goes right back down where it came from. And you get to like do the trade all over again. And if it goes below 11,200, well, then that's just kind of, you know, that's just Christmas, right? Eventually, right? So what goes up a certain way can go down a certain way. And the only way to see the support and resistance points that no one else can see is on token metrics. Okay, ETH 368. This is where I got the 350, 360 target from. It was like 475, 368, and worst case 160. Okay. So ETH, when DeFi was taken off, was at 368. ETH, when DeFi blows up, could be at 368 from tokenmetrics.com. Right now, Cardano. Okay. It's a little bit more serious. So the original buy signal in Cardano was 10 cents. Okay. Now I have a target of 35 cents. But can you imagine what the market would look like if Cardano, a major market cap coin like this, went to 10 cents? This is one of the most active areas at consensus, by the way, right? That's why I became interested in Cardano. I was like, wow. I was kind of hoping to go over there and I want to like sit down with somebody and have them, you know, give me like the full Cardano, you know, like one-on-one. I couldn't get anybody's attention. It's just a mob. Okay. So if this thing went down with the rest of the market and people gave up, you could be looking at 35 cents or 10 cents where you'd want to be picking it up there. This is why I'm trying to get everybody out of the way. And I'm telling people to go to Token Metrics because you want to know where the original buy signals were in the coins you care about. Okay. Zcash is another one that I'm looking at. I guess the good news about Zcash is that it has to go below 59 before it really gets ugly. Okay. But if it does get below 59, the downside target is 28. Right. So if stuff starts losing half of its value, right, you want to be there. But you have to be out of the way first. You definitely don't want to be buying at the top of a 20% up move. Now, again, I could be wrong about that. If Bitcoin dips and people buy it, hey, I am totally open to the argument of this being over. But based on the red cap and what I showed you on my Twitter with my GANN charts, my view is that, you know, the sequel to the 29 crash is tomorrow. And I'm not backing off of that at all. In other words, if the market's going to prove me wrong, okay, fine. They prove me wrong. I'm an analyst. I can be wrong, right? But I'm going to press my view, particularly since they did this insane bear market rally, purged all the shorts on some idiotic false hope that there's such a thing as a crypto Fed. It's amazing. Everybody wants decentralized. Everybody wants freedom. But when it goes down, everyone's like, oh, where's the Fed? Where's the support? Who's going to make it go up? Nobody. They just have to re-auction it. It's not personal. Everyone's like, oh, Bill, you're a fudster. No, I'm not. I'm trying to keep you out of the way. Right? Because it's a free market, and free markets suck when it's going the other way. But it's the system is repricing. They're repricing Bitcoin because it doesn't have a privacy feature. They're repricing ETH because the DeFi system is going to melt down. And there was too much shenanigans between staked ETH and regular ETH. Just to review, right? You took your ETH, you staked it. You get a certain yield. Then some firm came up and said, all right, stake with us. We'll give you a receipt for your Ethereum called staked ETH. And then you can take that and deposit it somewhere and borrow regular ETH against it, right? Because in And a monopoly money ETH is the same as ETH, right? Yeah, it is if the whole system doesn't get levered against the monopoly money ETH. So if ETH goes down and your collateral is monopoly money and that gets liquidated, then the peg between the monopoly money, the staked ETH, and regular ETH breaks. Okay? That's how ETH gets to, I don't know, 400, whatever. That's how it happens. Right? So if you have like a huge hedge fund unwind and this happens all at once, now is it gonna happen in the end of June? Maybe. Could it happen later? Yeah, maybe. Right? Could they try to have a bigger bear market rally and run it up? Yeah, maybe. Okay. Solana. All right. So a lot of people got short Solana. Solana's down a lot and they really ripped it up over the weekend, and they took it all the way up to 35, and they stopped everyone out, and that's nice. But if Solana takes out 30 or 31, I can draw 13. I mean, how can a system that's taking over allegedly decentralized system that gets more and more centralized every day, that comes in and doesn't let the market operate inside their own DeFi ecosystem, why is everyone buying this again? Oh, because they prevented a huge liquidation? Oh, okay, maybe. But what happens if prices start falling? These guys are going to get liquidated anyway, right? So I don't really understand why everyone's buying Solana unless we're in a full reversal, which, we'll talk about that later. In the meantime, NEAR is at resistance from hidden pivot work at 345. If NEAR goes up, great. If NEAR doesn't go up, it could go to $2.20. Synthetix was up huge. Wow, this is unbelievable, right? The power of the bear market rally. So Synthetix went from 1.3 to 3, okay? Destroying everybody that shorted it in June. Now, if Synthetix stops at $2.89, my work shows it could go right back to $1.37. The point here is this. I remember in 2008 when you had these huge purges, right? Where you would just you would blow out every short for a month. The ensuing decline is unbelievably violent because all the shorts are out and all the longs FOMO'd in at the top. And then when it turns around and go down, there's no short seller bid. There's no bid below the market. Now, I'm not picking on Synthetix, but I suspect that's true throughout the entire crypto ecosystem. Fantom is a point of concern, right? Last week, we brought up Fantom at 22 cents. If Fantom is above 22 cents, it could be okay, right? And we kind of hope that it is. Just like Solana and all these other coins, right? But the second Fantom breaks 22 cents, right, it could go to 7 cents. One other work we had from our quant AI levels showed 2 cents. Okay? So in DeFi, you do not want to see a breakdown. Like if I'm right and this thing cracks today and just dumps massively tomorrow, okay, you're going to have across-the-board liquidation in layer ones and DeFi governance tokens. If I'm right, Bitcoin will be the thing that carries everybody higher. So Avalanche, the big level in Avalanche is 14.9. The Williams oscillator looks exactly or close to what it looked like back when Avalanche was at 26. So again, the Williams oscillator, because Avalanche has been more or less going sideways for a good 10 days, you got to be careful with this. They had a nice little squeeze over the weekend. And if Avalanche is below 14.9, I mean, the downside target's not even on the chart. Okay, let's talk about gold. This is the gold to oil ratio. And as you can see, it's very low. And stochastics have been making a higher low as gold has underperformed oil, right? So oil goes up a lot, gold does nothing. So the gold divided by oil ratio goes down. My question is, what happens if gold goes up, right? In other words, every time the Fed hikes rates, right, mortgage rates go up, which means people who own, apartment complexes, right, they're getting higher. They have to pay more for money, and they pass that on to renters. So is it possible that when the Fed hikes rates, they're actually making inflation worse? Not many people talking about that. Okay. So if inflation's here to stay, gold's got to go up. Like this is like if there's like the one big trade everyone's missing other than the 1929 possible drop in crypto, it's gold up, right? If stocks dump, interest rates will fall. And if that happens, gold can go up. So rather than try to be short stocks, why not be long gold? Not investment advice. Gold is holding at the 62% retracement of its recent rally. It's just sitting there. We all know how much I like the 62% retracement when things are going up, right? Up, back to 62%, hold. Okay. I got a guy who thinks gold could go to 2,800. That sure would be interesting. Gold's currently at 1838. Nobody's paying any attention to Pax Gold. How funny would it be if Bitcoin went to 10 and gold went to 3,000? Okay, there's the Pax Gold chart. Above 1856 is where you'd get excited. And I guess if it's not above 1856, well, you don't have to get excited. But I do think this is something to look at. All right, now let's take a brief moment to review. Frequently with the market update, I make a joke. It's not as funny to me because I'm the analyst, but sometimes I can present like 15 charts and say, all right, if it breaks, it's going to go. Now, are there any charts that show that maybe this is over, right? That maybe, like I said, it's now or never. Either it's going to crack and it's going to go, or it's going to dip and people are going to try to buy it, right? That's why I'm saying, again, let me repeat that. Now or never. It's going to go today, tomorrow, Wednesday, this week. And if it doesn't, then it's not going, at least not right now. How do I know that? Well, ARKW, that's the Internet Growth Fund for, the ARK Investment Group. It's an ETF. It's the altcoins of the stock market. So it's the hottest stocks with no earnings. So it's basically hype and hope for the future, just like altcoins. No earnings. Okay. ARKW owns Bitcoin. So right over here, right, we have ARKW. And I compare it to where it was in July of last year. So, last year it was at 135. Now it's at 46, down 66%. Last year, ETH was at 1706. And if ETH matches what ARK did, ETH should go to 1025, which it basically did over the weekend. So, the problem may not be with ETH. Now, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's company, that's uber long Bitcoin, right, with leverage somewhere. Okay, their stock was at 472 in July of last year. It's now at 167. Bitcoin last year was at 29K. So if Bitcoin followed MicroStrategy, it should be at 17.7K, which was the low this weekend. So everybody thought this chart was a joke because I'm like, hey guys, Web 2 and Web 3 have to match. That's ARK and ETH. And Bitcoin and MicroStrategy have to match. Well, over the weekend, they did. So if this market dips and doesn't go, then you could be looking at a reversal higher, right? However, again, everyone's telling you that everything is all right. And the question is it? Or should you be skeptical of people telling you that everything is all right? Okay? Because I will tell you this, if everything is not all right, okay, there will be a repeat of 1929. And naturally, since I work for a crypto company, I actually hope that's not true. And that is your market update. All right, so let's go to live action here, see what's going on in the market as we're sort of talking. All right. So what's going on with Bitcoin? So on the 4-hour chart, here's the Williams RSI, right? And Bitcoin is below another key level, obviously at 20. So this is the battle at 20. Now let's go to the DeMark work and check this out. So this is the 90-minute chart of Bitcoin. So this rally could be A, and you could have B down here to 19, and then you could have C that goes God knows where. So if this thing's going to go up, it's really going to go up. Like this is binary. Either this is like going to implode, or someone's going to buy the dip and the shorts are going to get killed. It's like high stakes poker. Now in ETH, I think on the 90-minute chart, again, there's not a lot of DeMark sequential signals going on here, right? So this was the end of the trend over the weekend at 850. This was the correction at 1150 where we had all this resistance. Now we're sitting on this DeMark moving average around 1082. And this DeMark count, like this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, bounce, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 13. It's possible. Let's take a look at some more DeMark work. Again, we're just doing all of this. We're doing all of this on the fly. Now, back to the subject of possible bottoms, right? So here's a DeMark 13 bottom on the weekly Bitcoin chart, which is probably why you got that bounce over the weekend, right? Which just like the 13 bottom here at 40. You got the bounce, it went all the way up, but then over the next 4 weeks, it did nothing. And then it collapsed. Okay. Now, obviously, I don't think this is going to take 4 weeks because the next support on this chart is like 16. So if this 13 bottom works and this 9 bottom works, great. I work for a crypto company. But what happens if it doesn't? That's the question people are not asking themselves, right? Now let's go to a 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, okay? And what do we got? Well, what do you know? A 9 top, right? So it's really more likely that Bitcoin actually goes down because this corrective phase looks to be over. Okay, and here is ETH. Okay, so on a 4-hour chart, yeah, you got the 13 bottom. All right, that was the Father's Day surprise. And now you're looking at another 9 top. Right? I mean, I can't even remember. When was the last 9 top? The last 9 top we saw was up here at 1900. And it just cascaded lower. It just cascaded lower, right? Now, just as a reminder, as we come to the end of the month, right? You know, how many days we got left? We got 10 days. Everybody thought I was out of my mind with this. Remember the 13 top in April? And I'm like, hey, man, 5 more months, 5 more months, 5 more months. Everyone's like, oh, okay, boomer. Okay. Right? This is June, and we got July, August, and September to go based on this. So if there's any kind of uptick, right? Look at this uptick here. It looks just like May, right? They upticked this thing off the low, and then what did they do? They just dropped it. They just dropped it. So again, you know, when you sit here like this, it makes people nervous. It's like, oh, can I short it here? I don't know. Like, do I want to be short ETH? You know, when you look at the Williams oscillator, you know, the answer is ETH looks like it did at 1800. Okay, you have the stochastics divergence right there. And it looks exactly like they did after this epic bear market rally, right? Remember this? Beware the failed rally. It's happening again. Now, who knows? Maybe they try to take it up at the end of the day. I don't think anybody wants to be short here. Like, who in God's name, think about it. Who in God's name is going to say, oh, you know what? I'm a short seller and Bitcoin at 19,975. Oh, yeah, I'm going to short it at the 2017 high. You know how many people are going to do that? None. That's why it's going to work. That's why if it disappears, like, everyone's going to sell. All the hedgers are going to come in. Everybody's going to be like, oh, my God, it retested 20 and it failed. But who's selling it here? Nobody. Because people are too afraid to be short. And when people are afraid to be short, that's when you should be short. Okay? So looking at token metrics grade changes, okay? We did see one thing that we thought was really interesting. We saw Origin Protocol. So Origin Protocol actually allows you, okay? Wait. Okay, maybe I got the wrong token here, but my understanding that Origin, create and sell NFTs using Origin Story. So that's a correction of the correction. Origin Protocol, it had a daily token metrics grade. It went from 16 to 51. Okay, so the price only went up 7.5%, but the grade change was huge. So let me see if I can get over to my Origin Protocol. Okay, I'm going to share this screen so we can go over a little token metrics work. Okay. So since there was a jump in the grade, we're looking at the Kraken index. It allocated 28%, at least for today, to Origin Protocol. So one cool thing about token metrics is that you can go on here and you can look at this. And one of our guys said, hey, it's really interesting. If I wanted to do an NFT someday, I could maybe do it through this. Now, the token metrics grade hasn't moved, okay? But the trading view chart is interesting because, it is actually holding where it's been for a while. So everything else made these cascading new lows, and this didn't. So is there a winner in the NFT space? Will artists be able to actually make art? Well, I guess you'll find out when you check out Origin Protocol, which came from the token metrics indices. Now back to the token metrics markets page. In my mind, the argument against a bottom is right here. So the green line is altcoin market cap. That's 534 billion. Altcoin market cap is still above Bitcoin market cap. Bitcoin market cap's at like 382 billion. Now, in the past, the mega top was when altcoin market cap was at 1.4 trillion and Bitcoin was only at 948 billion. This was back in the mega layer one bubble in May of last year when it was sell in May and go away. So it stands to reason that if you had altcoin market cap massively above Bitcoin at the mega top, you could have altcoin market cap below Bitcoin market cap by the time it's over. So if altcoin market cap, the green line, is still above the gold line, that's Bitcoin, you know what? Honestly, I don't want to tell you it's over. It's over when people just completely give up on the future of Web3 and all this other stuff. Like, we're having Web3 conferences and okay, that's good. But when is it over? It's over when everybody gives up. That's when it's over. And I don't think we're there yet. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. So let's talk to people. Okay. Juan likes the channel. Please hit the like button if you're new. Welcome. If you've been listening to the wrong people, You are now in the right place. Okay, Synthetix keeps pumping. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, someone said failed rally. All right, we'll see so. Okay, Bill, is the 89-minute chart where you make all your trades? Okay, good question. So when markets get volatile like this, right, in order to deal with like 20% daily swings, you know, like I'll start with 8-hour and then it goes to like 4-hour and 89 or 90 minutes, right? Like 4-hour to me almost feels long term. Okay, remember you had that DeMark 9 top there. Okay, so Mr. Goddess says, oh my God, sell everything now. I would say it's more like, oh my God, adjust your portfolio so that you're not destroyed if the market goes down 50% from here. Okay. Okay, isn't it better for ETH if the gas fees are cheaper? Yes. So when ETH adopts multiple layer 2 scenarios or eventually moves over to ETH 2.0, obviously that will both shrink the supply of ETH and potentially reduce gas fees. What is of concern in the short term is that there are a lot of people who have got ETH locked up, right, for proof of stake, right? So are those people going to hedge all that ETH? Or if ETH 2.0 is successful, is a lot of that ETH going to unlock? And are they going to be able to pull it out and sell it? So there's like ETH that's staked, that's kind of trapped there. People have to hedge it. And then there's this monopoly money ETH, staked ETH, that's also out there. So right now, that's the big Ethereum problem. But when we're done with, DeFi behaving badly and men behaving badly, ETH is the future of the internet, right? New Zealand is here. Okay. Tron DeMark says he expects a pump to 40K in the next few months. Okay. So that's on par with what we showed with the DeMark 13 bottom, right? So that's why it's now or never, right? This thing is either going to go, it's either 1929 in the next couple days, right? Or you won't want to sell the next rally, right? Because the next rally, you don't know where it could stop. DeMark saying 40. I'm not going to argue with that, right? If it's over, it's over, right? But my 1929 analog has been tracking, and I'm not packing that in today or in the next 3 days. I want to see what happens tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, if it goes down, people buy the dip, then I think it's look out above. But tomorrow, if it starts rolling over and no one wants to be shorted, right, and all the shorts covered over the weekend, that's a recipe for a vanishing act. So as an analyst, I can say, all right, this is my base case, right? And this is what happens if I'm wrong, right? You're either doing it now against 1120 and like 21 in Bitcoin, right? Either those things are going to be resistance and it's going to cascade lower, or if it breaks through those levels, it could just go. So it's binary, like crash or melt up. I don't see this thing just sitting here. Okay. Thoughts on SHIB? Okay. Thoughts on SHIB? People are saying don't give up, right? Definitely not giving up. Definitely not giving up. And I appreciate the encouragement. Believe it or not, it's a lot harder to be negative than it is to be positive in crypto, right? Because let's face it, no one wants to hear it. I get it. The fact that no one wants to hear it means that real analysts have to say it anyway, right? They have to say it anyway. Right? So SHIB, again, from Star Wars, I have a bad feeling about this, right? That Williams oscillator in all of these coins is back where it was at the absolute like tippy top of this thing, right?
Bill, you're not sharing.
I have a bad feeling about this. Oops, I'm not sharing the screen because I have a bad feeling about what's on the screen. Okay, so Sheeb, 4-hour chart, right? I don't know. Can you draw a trend line on this, maybe? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What do you want to do right there? I would say GTFO. That's what I would say, right? You do not want to get caught, because here's the deal, folks, right? And I understand why DeMark is thinking 40. I get that. But that works the other way, right? If this stops here and melts down, where does it stop? Where does it stop? Let me see if I can pull the Avalanche chart up, right? Because I had a target drawn on this, but it didn't make it. It didn't make it. You know, the thing covered it up. Okay, it's $6.20. Okay. Now you're like, Bill, that's ridiculous. Is it? Right? I mean, when Avalanche was at 26 and the Williams oscillator did what it's doing right now in a way, okay, Avalanche collapsed. Now, is it going to take a day? I don't know. Is it going to take 3 days? I don't think so. Right? I don't think so. I mean, look what happened when they squeezed stuff like Litecoin. Right? I mean, they ripped this thing up. Everybody that sold Litecoin since July 11th got wiped out. They wiped out 10 days of short selling in about 12 hours. So not that I'm picking on Litecoin, because I actually like Litecoin, not as much as Zcash, but what happens when this turns and goes lower? Who's going to be there? Nobody. Nobody. Okay. Someone wants me to look at Woo Network. Okay. So Woo, very interesting in that, you know, it's kind of like a place where liquidity providers are building. I know they were building on Near, not necessarily this group, but like Near and Woo. And there was a lot of like market makers banding together. I met them at a DYDX function. Very interesting group of people. Okay. I think you would not want to see Woo below 14 cents. You don't want to see sustained action below 14 cents. You would want that to hold. Okay. Because if Woo breaks 14 cents, it could go to 4. It's too easy. It's too early to start drawing that. But again, right, what happens when you get these type of little pyramids? What happens? Right? Okay. So checking Chainlink. Okay, so Chainlink went to its 38% retracement of its recent down move. This is the 4-hour chart. Okay, and you know, a lot of times when you have big downtrends, you retrace 38%, and then it kind of falls apart. So if Chainlink can't get through $6.28, okay, and Chainlink falls below, wait, okay, so I'm sorry, the 38% retracement is 694, so that's Chainlink pressing 7. Then if Chainlink is below, say, 640, okay, on the 4-hour chart, then you'd have to be concerned that Link could move to either 536 or an eventual target of 318. Okay. So again, ask yourself this question. If Tron DeMark, who of course I respect because I use his indicators, right? He's making a call for a bottom in Bitcoin. The question is the bottom now or is the bottom after a huge GAN-based heave tomorrow or in the next week? So the question really isn't, do you want to pick up crypto? The question is, what price do you pick up crypto? Okay, are you picking Bitcoin up at 10K after Celsius gets liquidated? Or is everything all right now? Well, we'll find out. Obviously, I made a video yesterday, right, that says, you know, the video on Friday was Terrible Tuesday is coming. Okay, I got 11K views on that. Appreciate that out there. But, you know, I didn't put the red shirt and the red cap on for no reason, right? I put it on because if this thing goes down after that kind of short squeeze, it's just a total vanishing act, particularly since the short squeeze was based on, oh, someone's going to come in and support the market. I heard exactly the same thing in 1929. Like as it was crashing, as the big part of the crash was coming, as it was happening, not coming, as it was happening, people were like, oh, the market's going to get supported. The bankers are all meeting. And even though it's down a lot, oh, they'll support the market. Like Binance will get together with FTX, will get together with all the hedge funds, and they'll say, we need to save crypto. They couldn't save stocks in 29. They definitely can't save this ecosystem. They can't. Okay, so here's Yearn, right? Williams oscillator on the 4-hour chart, same deal, right? Absolute same deal. Okay, if Yearn is above, if Yearn is below 4,600, right? 4,602. Right? Which we're not there yet. It's not there. It's midday. But if you're watching this video tomorrow and Yearn is below 4,600, you know, you better pay attention because theoretically I can draw 1970. Now, that's going to be true across a lot of different charts. Okay. So Fantom we did earlier below 22 cents. You could be looking at 2 cents. Okay. And I know that's terrible. Okay. All right. Megan says 1929 is going to wreck everything. In my humble opinion, of course, but I will be stacking Chainlink during this bear market. So just to show, let's see if we can pull the Fantom chart up. See if I have it saved on the screen. I think I do. Okay, so this is the Fantom 4-hour chart, right? So, you know, I talked about 22 cents. That was a level from our quant guys, right? Now, I have it on my analysis too. You know, Fantom breaks 22 cents. The downside target, theoretically, is 0.07. If the whole DeFi system is going to get wrecked, Fantom was the hot DeFi play, right? We saw this at 35 cents, right? The last time, this was June 6th, all the way back at the beginning of the month. Okay. So Fantom has done kind of nothing, right? It's just sort of sad here. Okay. And that's probably why this Williams oscillator, that oversold condition has been relieved. And this thing is free to start slipping again. Okay. So, you know, this is not a pretty picture. Okay. Louis is saying, hey, check this channel out more. We could not agree more. Okay. Let's take a look at Moonbeam, I believe. Okay, so I guess the good news is Moonbeam does not have the negative Williams oscillator picture. Okay, if you go to the 89-minute chart, however, you do. So it's almost like no matter where you go on these like shorter term charts, there's always a bad signal somewhere, right? And this, you know, this downtrend, is kind of brutal, right? I think the thing you got to be asking yourself in this is like, you know, at this point, you're either hodling this thing long-term and you're hoping that there's a bottom and that this thing turns around and goes up because Bitcoin goes to 40, or you're willing to watch it go to 0. Okay, let's check Helium and Crow over here. Okay, so here's Chainlink on a 90-minute chart. And Chainlink's got the 13 top going on the 90-minute chart. Wow. Okay, not a pretty picture. Not. Okay, Tron, you know, kind of like not moving, right? This also looks like an accident going someplace to happen. Okay, somebody wants us to check HNT. Okay, so I mean, this is in a range, right? 1150 every time it has a 9 top. At 1151 it stops, and then, you know, it'll go down, and 10 is support. To me, this DeMark count means it can go lower on the 90-minute chart. I don't know, maybe the worst case scenario is they come fill this gap at 8. I don't know. It feels like Helium is one of those coins that, like, people, they want to buy it, right? They just want, this is something that people want to hold long term. That's what it feels like. Okay, Metaverse. Let's see what I got in the Metaverse. What's the best crypto-friendly U.S. bank? Sir, I have no idea, honestly. I mean, I know Wells Fargo allows me to connect. It allowed me to connect my personal account to Coinbase and crypto.com. So AAVE on a 60-minute chart, right? You have a failed rally, right? Like Synthetix, okay? You know, and then this thing turns around, and you've got to be careful of wholesale liquidation in the DeFi sector. Now, Gala on a 90-minute chart. Okay, so Gala's been kind of destroyed and done nothing, right? It's done nothing, and it's sitting here on like 0.05 cents, okay, and 0.053. So I don't know. I mean, you could make a case that if Bitcoin bottoms, Gala could bottom. But if you, I don't know. I mean, let's look at the weekly chart. Let's see what's going on the weekly chart. Well, you can't even read this on a weekly. Okay. All right. Let me just check one thing, because I'm getting breaking news from our guys on YouTube. Okay, coming soon, we're launching a new channel, okay, for just token metrics clips. So we will let you know when you can like and subscribe that channel for token metrics short clips of what we do on the stream. Plus, I'm upgrading my phone, and I will be able to actually help you, okay? Actually be able to help you with, you know, shorter videos. Okay. All right. So let me see if I can share my screen here just with one last thing for you. It's from Star Wars, right? And I don't know if anybody remembers the original Star Wars, but, you know, the acting and the writing was not the best. It wasn't. It was not the best. But some of the lines stood the test of time. Okay. And I think this is worth a final look. One final look. Something important that you have to remember, okay? Because nobody likes bad news. It's now or never on the downside. Okay. And if it's now, right, I have a very bad feeling about this. Okay? I have a bad feeling. People don't buy this dip. If you cannot buy this dip and make money, this market could give out. Okay? It could give out. All right? Trezarch says token metrics for millennials. That's funny. Okay. Yes. Hellrod says you have not seen today's Star Wars writing, right? That's also possible that today's Star Wars writing is just as bad as yesterday's, right? As yesterday's Star Wars writing. So I get it. All right. Can you please look at the GBTC block? Can you please look at GBTC? Yes. Yes, we can. Okay. I talked about this, and then I saw other big YouTubers talking about it. So either we're all talking about it at the same time, right? Or one of us is listening to the other. I can't remember how it was brought to my attention, but you need to listen to this, right? You need to see what's going on with this. Okay, this is GBTC monthly. Okay, where is GBTC? What is it? Well, it was the precursor to a Bitcoin ETF, right? Meaning a bunch of guys got together, they bought a bunch of Bitcoin, and they issued what was called a trust. And that trust was tradable in the stock market. So it's not an ETF, but, you know, for a long time, the only way to get long Bitcoin in the stock market, if you were too chicken to do Coinbase, was GBTC. All right. Now, these guys are waiting on a decision from the SEC as to whether or not they're going to become the first Bitcoin spot ETF. Hey, that was never going to happen with Bitcoin going up. It's definitely not going to happen with Bitcoin going down. Meanwhile, GBTC is all the way back where it was in October of 2020. Where was Bitcoin in October of 2020? I don't know. Let's check and see. Bitcoin in October of 2020 was that 10K. Remember that chart I had on token metrics? So people are selling GBTC so hard in equities that it's actually trading below the value of the Bitcoin it holds, because it's never going to become an ETF. And their argument to make it an ETF is that the people who hold it will get a lot of value returned to them, because, you know, most of the time when you have an ETF, it will track the value of what's inside of it. But in GBTC's case, people are just, you know, they're just like, get me out. You got panic selling a Bitcoin. Now, again, maybe that's the end. Maybe we come in tomorrow and we go, wow, everyone sold GBTC. Bitcoin caught up with MicroStrategy. Tron DeMark thinks it's going to 40K, done. Or you get short now and you bet that there's going to be a bigger move next couple days, right? Because if everyone holds out hope, hope is not a tactic. It's a famous military saying. Hope is not a tactic. And if there's a chance of getting crypto at ridiculously low prices, then I say wait a couple days. If Bitcoin went to 40, I don't think it would be a good long-term buy at 40. Okay? If Bitcoin went to 9, right? If 10 is a target, right? If Celsius gets liquidated at 14, that goes to 10, and it pops below 9, that's the long-term buy, potentially. Okay? So I'm going to wrap it up there. Okay? Huckleberry says, this is beginning to scare me. That's why I'm wrapping it up. Okay? So let's sum it up. It's either going to happen now or it's never going to happen, meaning the 1929 event in crypto. I have a bad feeling about this, meaning I don't like how quiet it is after a 20% rally. I smell the fear of being short and the lack of a desire to put up with any more downside. People just can't look at it anymore. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. But fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? Fatigue makes cowards of us all. From Vince Lombardi, a famous American football coach. Okay, so could the market go up? Yes. Have we laid out the case for that? Yes. However, we have spent weeks outlining the 1929 scenario, and it's tracking. So while that scenario is still tracking, you still have to be careful. If the market's going up, you have time to get in. If the market's going down, you will not have time to get out. Okay, so be mindful of liquidity risk. Be mindful of where your money is on exchanges. Because if I'm right about this, by the time we get on the air tomorrow, it will be well underway. Either that or it happens the next day. I don't know. They fooled me over the weekend. The point is, all right, check yourself before you wreck yourself. If it's going up, you got time to get in. If it's going down, you may not have time to get out. So all along throughout this whole bear market, starting with sell in May and go away, going back to April, okay, I've been telling people to be careful. And that warning with the red hat is still in effect, right? And I work for a crypto company, so I hope I'm wrong. You think this is hard to listen to? It's even harder to say. All right? So with that and a smile on my face, I will leave it there. All right? This is Bill Noble. This is the Market Update. Subscribe and like, and we'll see you tomorrow.